Peter, Lord Hendy of Richmond Hill. I'm the Minister of State for Rail at the Department for Transport.
I'm Mark Wilde, I'm the CEO of HS2 Limited.
I'm Creamer, Director General at DFT, and I'm the SRO for HS2.
Their motive was financial.
Your money is being vaporized to fund corporate playground, and people running the country just admitted they have no way to stop it. The official budget for the first phase of HS2 was about 40 billion, I believe, and now it's 103. Just slightly more. They didn't even finish designing the railway before they started digging the holes. Creating a systematic black hole where private contractors get paid more money the more they fail. That's common sense, isn't it? This isn't an engineering project. This is an institutional scam designed to insulate corporate bosses while you pay the bill through record high taxes. You need to watch this. Shocking.
Yeah, so first of all, let's just acknowledge what bad news this is. You know, we just got to acknowledge that from the budget set in April 2020, the baseline then was something called 7.1, just for reference, and that budget was 43 billion pounds. The numbers we have doubled that, so the budget's doubled in 5 years. Let's just acknowledge this is terrible news, and we have to really think about the reasons for that in setting the new baseline. The reasons I'm very confident that these bookends of time and cost are robust and will lead to a what you might say a more detailed program of work for April 27 are three distinct reasons. Firstly, we've taken a whole year. I'm very grateful actually to the department and for the government to have given me the time and space to go through this job with a fine-tooth comb. So we've really been through every part of this job, working out the sequence of work, gaps in work that we're missing. So number one, we've thoroughly analysed where we are. Number two, we have had the benefit that they didn't have in 2020 of demonstrated performance. So after 5 years of civil engineering, I know how much it costs to move a cubic metre of earth. So we've really had the benefit of demonstrated performances. Where we've got tendered prices, we've also checked that against other projects such as the Elizabeth Line or London Bridge. Work that was omitted in the original estimate that should have been included, and that adds up to 2/3 of the increase.
I had to fast forward it because blabbing for 5 minutes about nothing.
Really goes down to one singular root cause, that this project started on site with immaturity of design.
There you go.
And obviously in your private lives and in other projects you'll scrutinise, if you start a project of this magnitude with immature design, with contracts that put the balance of risk on the government and the arm's length body, and without the appropriate consenting, you are bound to get into great problems as you get into delivery. So 2/3 of the increase are all really due to the decision to start too early.
So in my mind, straight away, it's either massive incompetence or deliberate action. Right, the chief executive, I believe he is, yeah, he just admitted that he's from 42 million to 105 or whatever it was. The political class wanted, I believe what happened was, political class wanted a flashy photo shoot to show that they're doing something, and written off a blank check for them once to abuse. That's it. And who's gonna pay for that? Me and you. Let's watch another one.
I mean, I'd just say, you know, you would, anybody listening to this would be rightly horrified. When I turned up in this job, the first time I met Dean's predecessor and then the most senior person in HS2, they both turned up in the room with a sheet of paper, none of which numbers agreed with each other, and there was no substance to certainly the HS2 numbers. I think the department at that stage wasn't as well informed as it certainly is now, but it was impossible to judge. I couldn't take the pieces of paper. It was not clear to me that there was any real information there backed by anybody. And this is why you're hearing, you know, the processes that Mark is describing. Sadly, he's been through them twice with Crossrail and now with HS2, but this is a disastrous place to be with a project at this stage.
So Lord Hendy, he is a rail minister. He openly confesses that top project leaders previously walked into his office holding random pieces of paper with conflicting numbers and zero factual data. These elites had absolutely no idea how much work was completed, yet they continued to funnel billions out of the public purse. Let's watch another one, guys. It's getting better.
Yeah, the weather. So let's just describe the next 4 years are actually pivotal in this program. Between Old Common and Curzon Street, we need to get the civil engineering done. So by 2029, my ambition is that we complete the civil engineering and we start laying the track. We only do our civil engineering between March and November. So the question is, can we get the civil engineering done in 3 earthwork seasons? If we have a deluge in one of those years, it's actually very difficult for the civil engineers to safely complete their work.
So in your current programme, you've not got, in that period, you've not got contingency for one deluge, as you put it, one wet period?
Yeah, so a good question from the chair about risk. So in the range, how do you have a 3-year range? Where one of the big drivers of the 3-year range is, do we need 3, 4, 5 years to complete the civil engineering? The minimum is 3, that's my objective. We do everything we can. But if we did have a really difficult summer of deluge of rain, we might need another year. So one of the big variances we have is, can we get the civil engineering done by 2029, which is the objective. If it delays, the thing we're not going to do is where Crossrail got into trouble, where they started to do the systems in parallel with the civil engineering. 2 people working on the same thing at once. So we've taken a principled decision here to complete the civil engineer before we start laying the track, a clean handover, which means the weather, earthwork seasons, is quite a determinant in the next 3 years.
I mean, surprise, surprise, you live in England and you surprised that it's raining in England. How incompetent you have to be not to take into account that sometimes in UK we have a heavy rainfall, and that might interrupt projects like that. Let's watch another one.
The most astonishing thing was that it was predicated on automatic train operation for a system that has not yet been invented, a railway that might have been delivered in the eyes of those who first thought about it about now, and there's no signalling system.
The freeze we need now is a technical freeze, a freeze of development in the laboratories of our signalling manufacturers, who literally don't know how to produce this.
I mean, what is going on? I don't even know how to react to stuff like that, because, I mean, you undertake to do such a magnificent and massive project without even having a developed technology. The inquiry reveals that HS2 was intentionally designed around an automatic train signaling system that has literally never been invented before. So all the engineers are sitting in their labs and they're trying to invent stuff. That's absurd. They sold to the public a hyper-speed dream, knowing the full well that the technology did not exist on the planet to actually run the trains.
Because how the contracts, and it's nobody's fault, how the contracts are arranged is they've become cost reimbursable.
It's nobody's fault.
Now the quality of the work is good, the management is good, but we need the supply chain to bear down on costs, to have efficiency top of their mind, and that's the objective. Get to the early end of this ranges, bear down, value public money, and that's the difference, because the contracts we had really weren't structured like that.
The leadership admits the existing corporate contracts are completely cost reimbursable, meaning the government pays for every single mistake, delay and overrun. Private construction conglomerate face absolutely zero financial penalty for missing deadlines or blowing the budget. The system is explicitly rigged to incentivize corporate bloat because the longer the project drags on, the more public cash they rake in, milking a cow to the max. And we are the cow. Anyway, the mask is completely off. The corporate bosses and political insiders has constructed a mechanism that burns billions of pounds of public money while delivering slower trains, delayed timelines, and zero accountability. And nobody is at fault. The bad weather is at fault. It's quite easy to spend somebody else's money when you are not accountable for it. See you in the next one.